All right. David Benavidez, the WBC 168-pound champion, is trying to get snuck on by old Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn trying to turn the 168, trying to do to the 168-pound division what he tried to do to the heavyweight division. And well, we ain't going for that, man. Ain't going for Eddie. We see you coming, Eddie. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome to the channel, subscribers and supporters. Supporters, thank you guys so much for watching the video all the way to the end, sharing the video, liking the video, leaving comments in the comment section of the video. Engagement is super appreciated. Also, I want to thank you everybody that visits Fanon Boxing, Business and Politics on the Patreon, and everybody that comes to the live streams Monday through Friday and after Trill Boxing Talk, and Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time with myself, Blood Boxing, KQKC Boxing, and Curtis Anderson. Now, let's get into this. All right, I didn't get to really rub anybody's faces. You know I likes to do that. That David Benavidez easily beat Anthony Dirrell to get his WBC championship back, okay? I'm a big fan of the skill set of David Benavidez. David Benavidez himself, I can see how his kind of off personality could throw some people off. But hey, man, that guy can fight. And I knew he was going to beat Andre Dirrell. He did beat Andre Dirrell. Now he's got his WBC championship back. And immediately after it, they saying, hey, man, let's get this Caleb Plant fight going on. Now, Caleb Plant, I do believe he's the IBF champion. In fact, I know he's the IBF champion. And those guys are both PBC fighters. David Benavidez with the WBC and Caleb Plant with the IBF. There's a lot of people that think Caleb Plant's going to beat David Benavidez. I'm not one of them. However, I would love to see the fight. They both jabber back and forth. Good matchup, right? So you think you're on the way to that. But this is boxing, of course. And if you really, really want it, if you really, really think you're going to get it, that's when promoters and boxing commissions seem to say, oh, that's what they really like. That's what they really want. Let's hold it up. Let's stop. That's too quick. They want that. Let's wait for them. Let's make a good fight scarce so we can jack up the price, right? That's economics 101, isn't it? Supply and demand, scarcity. If you make a resource, the more scarce a resource is, the higher the price goes up. So they don't want to give us fights that we want to have right away, quickly and often. They want to make it rare. They want to make a great championship fight like a Fabergé egg, right? There's just a few of them. So, hey, when they come, you got to pay top dollar for them. And that is the method. That's the methodology of almost all these. Definitely Bob Arum, definitely Eddie Hearn. Yeah, right? That is just true in economics, period. The supply and demand and the law. I think that's the law of scarcity, and they apply that to boxing. So the fact that we would get David Benavidez and Caleb Plant right away, it just doesn't sound right to me. But so here comes Eddie Hearn saying that he wants to petition the WBC to mandate a fight between David Benavidez and Callum Smith. Callum Smith is the WBA champion who won that belt off of George Groves. Mandated. Now, why do I find that interesting? Because if Eddie Hearn wants a unification fight for Smith, he doesn't have to go any further than his own stable of fighters. Billy Joe Saunders is the WBO champion. If you want to have a unification fight, wouldn't it make sense for Eddie Hearn to have a fight between one guy in his stable and another guy in his stable. They both got the same promoter. They're both from the UK. That should be a big fight in the UK, right? Shouldn't that be on Sky Sports? Callum Smith versus Billy Joe Saunders for a unified fight. The WBA and the WBO belts are on the line. We can throw that at the O2. Shouldn't that be it? Right? Isn't that the logical fight to make? The money makes sense because they're both well-known champions from the same region of the country, of the world. They're both from the UK. They both have the same promoter. They're both champions in the same weight division. Why wouldn't Eddie Hearn make that fight? Similar to how the PBC just made Errol Spence Jr. and Sean Porter. They're both from the United States. Both fighters are from the United States. They both have belts. They make a fight. It does 350,000 pay-per-views. It's an exciting fight. Electrifies their fan base. Seems like it makes sense, doesn't it? Why wouldn't Eddie Hearn do the same thing when he has two champions at 168? Why would he want to mandate? Why would he pressure the WBC to mandate a title between Callum Smith and David Benavidez? Because he's trying to monopolize the 168-pound division. That's why. Because he doesn't care about having one champion with two belts. He wants two champions and three belts. Right? Notice, we ain't any one champion, two belts. One champion and two belts is not as good as two champions with three belts. Why wouldn't he just do in a fight that's more difficult to make because he actually has to pressure the WBC to make the fight? Now, David Benavidez says to them, tells Eddie, you're gonna have to wait in line. We got Yaldemir next. Cause I don't know, maybe Yaldemir is gonna be the WBC mandatory. I don't know why Yaldemir is next. Yaldemir is the guy that lost, I do believe, in the 168-pound tournament and got knocked out by Chris Eubank, if I have that correct. I think he was knocked out in the World Boxing Super Series by Chris Eubank. But regardless, that's what Eddie's trying to do. Monopolize a weight division like he tried to monopolize the heavyweight division with Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. And signed Dillian White. He signed Joseph Parker, Anthony Joshua, and then pretty much just left the one guy that his fighter couldn't beat, Deontay Wilder just swinging in the wind. And more than likely, that would be the same thing with the Caleb Plant. They get three of the belts. They're not gonna fight Caleb. Maybe they won't fight Caleb Plant. But look, man, this is what I think should happen in the 168-pound division because Caleb Plant's a good fighter. Billy Joe Saunders is a good fighter. Caleb Plant is a good fighter. David Benavidez is a good fighter. Why don't you let the two Matchroom fighters fight each other? Let the two PBC fighters fight each other, and then let the winner of David Benavidez and Caleb Plant go on to fight the winner of go ahead and fight the winner of Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith. Bob Arum, but more than likely, that's just not something Eddie Hearn's going to do. Eddie Hearn has still not made the easiest UK fight. Kell Brook versus Amir Khan. That was common sense. That's just common sense to let those guys fight. But just no, we're not going to do that. We're going to send. It's just, man, come on, man. Come on. Callum Smith need to fight Billy Joe Saunders. Period. Billy Joe Saunders, and that's another fight that they didn't make, that they could have made. They could have had unification for Billy Joe Saunders at 160 pounds and had him fight Demetrius Andrade. But that couldn't go right now. I think that also might have had something to do with Billy Joe Saunders getting stripped because he was under the influence of performance enhancing drugs. But don't let Eddie Hearn don't let little things like people popping dirty for performance enhancing drugs get in his way of giving these guys title shots. And the WBO definitely doesn't have any problem with a guy that got stripped of their belt at a lower weight division, fighting for after they get off suspension for PEDs, fighting at a higher one. Anyway, look, man, let's get this David Benavidez versus Callum Smith versus Caleb Plant fight on, because that's the big fight, the interesting fight in the United States that people want to see in the United States. Two American fighters fighting for a unification fight at 168, just like we got with Errol Spence Jr. and Sean Porter. Let's get that done and call it a day. What are your thoughts on that? Let me know what you think. Why wouldn't Eddie Hearn just make the fight that seems the easiest to make, right? And why is this Yaldemir thing happening, man? And it goes both ways, man. Just make the fight. Just make the Callum Smith Benavidez fight, and let's get to it. Anyway, it is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.